We're going to start our practice in our easy seat with our legs crossed, making sure you're getting a nice long line from your tailbone all the way up to the top of your spine. So if you're finding that your hips aren't allowing you to sit up straight and you're arching backwards, then feel free to take a blanket, a pillow, or a block and use it to raise up those hips. So we can sit comfortably here and allow for that nice long straight spine up the back. And just begin by becoming aware of your breath. Slowing down your breath. As you inhale, really thinking about filling up both the lungs and the stomach. Stretching out those lungs sideways and forward, and as you exhale, letting all of that air out. And beginning to match the length of your inhale and your exhale, maybe even counting slowly. As you inhale, imagine that spine getting nice and long, growing through the crown of your head. And as you exhale, let those shoulders melt away from the ears, shoulder blades melting down the back. My chin is slightly tucked just to keep the crown of my head facing up towards the ceiling. And let's take 3 more deep breaths here. Settling into practice, letting go of the day. And I'm going to leave the pillow under my hips for now as we move into a twist. I'm going to take my left leg and bring it on the outside of my right knee. Trying to make sure that my left hip is staying down on the mat or on that pillow. If I'm finding that it's really lifted up, then I might modify this by straightening out the right leg or even bring the left foot to the inside of the right leg. So find where you are, noticing that we're just warming up here. Inhale those arms up overhead, and we'll exhale that left arm behind us, acting as a kickstand, keeping the spine nice and straight. And as I exhale, I'm going to twist over to the left, breathing here. So I can hold on to the knee, or I can bring the elbow to the outside of the knee. What I'm trying to do, what's most important, is that I'm keeping that long line through my spine, from the tailbone to the top of my head. And I'm not yanking into this twist. Just as we begin class, I'm using my breath to create space down into the belly. And as I exhale, I'm letting that belly button come in, naturally creating space for me to twist a little deeper. We'll take 3 more deep breaths here. Really focusing on staying connected with that breath throughout the practice today. And we'll take this to the other side. So I'm going to come back through center and switch my legs. This time I'll fold in my left leg, and I'm going to bring my right foot across to the outside of that left knee. Again, in this case, my right hip seems like it's pretty high off the ground, so I'm going to straighten out through that left leg, and the other option would be to bring that right foot on the inside. Inhaling the right arm up and back, That's my kickstand, straight through the spine, and then twisting over to the right and breathing here. So your spine is that straight axis that the body is twisting around. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And gently come back to center. Uncross those legs, shake them out. I'm going to move the pillow out of the way and bring my knees around and back behind me, coming into my tabletop pose. Taking my time here to really spread out the hands and make sure that I'm pushing down through all 10 fingers, really feeling that grounding sensation with the mat and that my knees are right underneath those hips. We're going to start working through our cat-cow, imagining a wave starting at our tailbone, and as we inhale, that belly drops and that wave comes all the way up as I open through the shoulders, shining that heart forward. And as I exhale, drawing that tailbone under, and my gaze comes back towards my belly. Really focusing now on connecting our movement with our breath, moving at the speed of your breath. Exhaling to push up through cat. Inhaling, drops that belly into cow. Exhale. Inhale. So focus on maintaining that nice deep breath and starting to connect these motions to that breath. Exhale, pushing away. Inhale, dropping the belly. Exhale. Inhale here. Really waking up that back. Exhale. Let's take one more round of breath. Inhaling. Exhale, really bringing that belly button up, pushing away from the ground. And we'll inhale here to come to a nice straight back. From here, I'm going to bring my feet together and sit back into a child's pose. So a lot of options here. You can keep the knees close together, or you can bring them a little bit wider on the mat. And then walk those hands down. If you're not making contact with the ground, this is another really nice position to use that pillow to help bring the ground up to the head. And if you're feeling really tight through the shoulders, then feel free to bring the arms back. Just finding a place here in your child's pose where you can start to release into those hips and sink a little bit deeper into this posture that should feel restful if you are able to ease into it. We'll take 5 deep breaths here. If your arms are back, bring them forward. Remove any pillow or block that you might have under your head. We're going to inhale forward, tuck those toes under, and make our way up to standing. So to do that, we're going to push our knees off the ground and gently walk those feet forward, or you can walk your hands back. Coming into our ragdoll position here. My feet are hip distance apart. It doesn't matter if I'm touching the ground or not. I can bend into those knees as much as I'd like. And my arms are hanging nice and loose. My head is hanging loose. It's a beautiful position for letting go and starting just to feel the back of the legs open up. Use that breath again. Stay connected with your breath. And as you exhale, really think about drawing that belly button in. Letting go of the day again. Breathing here. This is an inversion with our head below our heart. So we gain a lot of the benefits of inversions. And let's start working through that tabletop back, through that straight back. So I'm going to inhale and bring my hands up to my shins or my thighs and get nice and long through that spine. So I'm imagining that I could serve dinner off my back. There's one long line from my tailbone all the way to the top of my head. Breathe here and really feel that opening through the back of your legs. So when we halfway lift, we want to get that straightness through our back, almost like you're pulling a string tight and all those vertebrae are stacking up one on top of each other. Now let's play with this flat back a little bit here, this halfway lift. So we'll take one more inhale here and exhale, let it fold forward into your ragdoll. Inhale brings you up through that flat back. Exhale, ragdoll. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, ragdoll. Inhale, flat back. And this time we'll exhale to fold forward. And as you inhale, bend your knees slightly, straighten through that back, and then bring those arms all the way up overhead. Exhale, let the hands come down. And let the palms face forward, coming into our mountain pose here. Let the hands, the palms are facing forward, allowing our shoulders to stay wide. Take a moment, if you'd like, you can close your eyes and just feel where your sense of balance is. Feel where you're holding your weight, maybe even shifting a little side to side, forward and back. When you feel like your weight is equally distributed across those feet, we'll take a minute to lift up all 10 toes, spread them nice and wide, and bring them back down to the earth, one at a time. Engage your core slightly so that your pelvis is tilting up ever so slightly. Imagine engaging the quads so that the knees caps rise up just a little bit. I'm slightly getting that tuck in my chin, only to bring the back of my neck backwards and bring the crown of my head up towards the ceiling. And my legs are actually internally rotating slightly as well. So my legs are active and I'm not locking out my knees. Inhale to imagine yourself growing taller through that crown of the head. And exhale to let those shoulders fall away from the ears. Let's take 2 more breaths here in our mountain pose. And we'll start working through some sunburst. So as you inhale, this time we'll bring the arms up overhead. And as you exhale, with that slight bend in the knees and that nice straight back, we'll dive forward, forward fold. Inhale to that flat back, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, coming all the way back up to standing, arms come overhead. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhaling, arms up. Exhale, dives forward. Inhale to that flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, back up through standing. Exhale, hands to heart. 2 more times. Inhaling, arms up, maybe even adding a slight back bend here. Exhale, lead with that heart, dive forward. Inhale to that flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, back up through standing. And exhale, hands to heart. One more time here, inhaling, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, continuing to connect this motion to the breath. Inhaling through that flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, back up through standing. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale here. And exhale, let those hands come forward, back into our mountain pose. Let's build onto that flow a little bit here. So we'll inhale, our arms up. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale to that flat back, and this time we're going to bend our knees as much as we need to bring our hands down to the ground, and we're going to take a big step back with that left foot. Take a moment here to make sure that your right knee is right above your right ankle, so you might need to step that foot back a little further. Push through that left heel, feeling that left leg get active, feeling a nice stretch on the front of the left leg. And then we're going to let the left heel drop down to the mat, and the foot is parallel now to the back of my mat. I'm going to engage through my core and bring my arms up and out into my warrior two. So on my warrior two, my heels are on one line on the mat, and my right leg is externally rotating. That knee's going to want to come in, and we want to keep it open, getting that nice big stretch through our hips. Shoulders again are staying away from the ears. And I'm pushing through the outer edge of that back foot, of that left foot. Legs are strong, and the gaze comes out over that right fingertip. Let's settle into our warrior two and take 3 nice breaths here. I'm going to bring my hands back down around that right foot, coming up on my left toe. And I'm going to bring my weight forward into that right leg as I inhale. And then as I exhale, I'm going to step that left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale brings you up through standing. And exhale, hands to heart. Taking that to the other side, we'll inhale our arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to that flat back. This time we'll bend the knees, plant those palms, and step the right foot to the back of the mat. Take your time here. If it takes you a few steps to get it back, take your time. Get it there so that your left knee is aligned over that left ankle. Push through that right heel. Feel that opening through the front of the right hip. We'll take another breath here. And then we'll let that right heel drop down. So now my right foot is parallel to the back of the mat, and I will bring my body up and my arms out into my warrior two. So I'm getting a nice straight back here. So I'm not leaning forward or back. I'm trying to get my body straight up and down, perpendicular with the floor. This time I'm thinking about my left leg opening up, externally rotating, and really pushing through the outer edge of that right foot. Arms are strong, shoulders are away from the ears as those shoulder blades melt down the back. Staying strong here. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then I'll bring that left hand down, coming up on my right toes and bringing that right hand down. Inhale to bring your weight forward into that foot, and then take as many steps as you need to bring that right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. And inhale, up through standing. Exhale, hands to heart. We're going to do that one more time, moving a little bit faster. Make sure you have proper alignment before you move in and out of any pose. You can always join me later. Let's inhale those arms up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, flat back. Plant the palms. Exhale, step that left foot back. Inhale here, make sure you have that nice length, and we'll exhale to drop that left heel down to the mat. As you inhale, bring those hands up, and exhale, open into your warrior two. We'll take one breath here. One more inhale. And then exhale, bring the hands down, come up on your left toes. Inhale your weight forward into that right foot. And exhale, step that left foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up through standing. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, diving forward. Inhale, really working on perfecting that flat back here. Plant those palms, step the right foot back. Inhale here, and as you exhale, let that right heel drop down. We'll inhale our arms up, and we'll exhale to open into warrior two for one round of breath. Inhale and exhale, bring the right and left hand around the left foot, come up on those right toes. Inhale your weight forward, and then exhale, stepping that right foot forward, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, up through standing. And exhale, hands to heart. Nice work. Let those palms come forward. Take a moment to ground here in your mountain pose. And we'll begin to shift our weight over into that left foot. Spreading those left toes nice and wide. Engage your core. Keep your hips level. And from here, I'm going to bring my hands to heart center and come up on my right toes. When I'm feeling balanced and my weight is centered over that left foot, I'm going to bring my right knee up and then out to the side, coming into my tree pose. Making sure that the right foot is above or below the kneecap, just making sure you're not pressing it directly on the kneecap. Another option is to keep those right toes on the ground, which is still very challenging. Get tight through that core, bringing all of those muscles inward, helping with stability, and breathe here. You can keep your hands in prayer, or you can let those branches grow nice and long. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And we'll gently inhale that right leg forward and step it down, shake out those legs. Shifting to the other side, we'll start to bring our weight into the right foot, taking a moment to spread the toes nice and wide. Feeling that weight shifting over into that right foot, engage your core, and we'll bring that left knee up and out to the side, coming into our tree pose on the other side. Try to find a spot on the ground that's not moving. And if you fall out of it, then just come right back into it. We're making sure that that foot is above or below the kneecap, not directly on it. And the other option is to bring those toes to the ground, still working on keeping that weight in the right foot. And we'll take 3 more breaths here. That option again to let the arms come wide. And then we'll see if gracefully we can bring that left knee forward and set it down, shake out those legs. Nice work. We'll inhale our arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale to a flat back. Bring both hands to the floor, and we're going to step our legs back. So we're coming through this plank, drop the knees, sit back, and bring the legs out in front of you. Let the legs come nice and long. So again, if you're tight through the hips, it might be difficult to sit up straight here. And if you'd like to add that blanket or pillow underneath the hips, feel free. But what we want to do is really engage our legs, flex through those feet. And then bring the hands down to our sides. So really thinking about this nice long line from the tailbone up to the top of the head. If your hands are reaching the mat, then push into those hands. You can even feel a bit of a stretch through the forearms. I'm keeping my shoulders away from my ears. This is an active pose. Our staff pose is actually more difficult than it looks. Looks like we're doing next to nothing here, but we're really engaging quite a few muscles, especially in the legs. Breathe here. And release. We'll inhale our arms up overhead. And as we exhale, gently fold forward. Just let the hands land wherever they are. If you want to use a strap here, feel free. Don't worry if you're not touching your toes. Use your nice deep breaths to create space in that belly. And let's take 3 more breaths here. This is a great pose to calm down the mind. One more breath. And we'll gently walk the hands up the legs. Bend into your knees. And slowly lower yourself down onto your back. Preparing for our final resting pose, our Shavasana. Check with your lower back. If you straighten out your legs and you're feeling pressure on the lower back, then think about bringing the knees off the ground, either by putting a pillow underneath them or keeping them bent up towards the ceiling. The last option is to bring the soles of your feet together and let the knees come out into our reclined bound angle pose, or our butterfly pose here. Find a position where you feel comfortable. Close the eyes if that's okay to you and feels safe, and let those palms come out to the side, facing up towards the ceiling. Feet and knees roll away from the center line. Taking a deep breath here, inhaling and sighing it out. And then settling into our Shavasana for a minute or two. Being aware of things, ideas, or your to-do list starts coming into the mind, and imagine just putting them aside for now. You can always go address them after class, but right now, just imagine melting into the ground and fully relaxing. Start to deepen your breath, using that breath to bring motion back into the body, to that belly and chest, and starting to add some gentle movements in the fingers and feet. Eventually taking a nice stretch up overhead, drawing those knees into the chest, and making your way over onto your side in a fetal position for a few breaths. And with eyes closed, gently pushing yourself up into a seat. Back where we began our class in our easy seat. Thank you for practicing with me today. The light in me sees and honors the light and good in you. Namaste.